brothers and sisters. It is 8:20 a.m. Central Standard Time on March 23rd, 2022. I hope our Creator is keeping you well and safe wherever you are in the world. Please make sure to hit that like button, share this across other platforms, and subscribe if you're new so that you can be made aware of solar weather. We're going to start off today at spaceweather.com. Today it looks like we could be getting a glancing blow that could affect the Earth's magnetic fields later today, which could cause auroras. So what that tells me is, Arctic sky watchers should be alert for auroras. Well, what that tells me is it's not going to be here till later on today when they start talking about auroras. So if we get it earlier in the day, we're not going to have auroras, later on tonight. Does that make sense? So if we get it, it'll be later on this evening, at least for Central Standard Time. We had a pretty far side explosion off the sun. Right here, this is LASCO C3, and you can see it popped off the backside, but we also seen this pushed down. Just that little object right there. I actually showed that in a previous video. Pretty interesting stuff what that is. And as we come down, we can see that GOES 17 actually took on proton flux, and we showed that from the other day as well, didn't we? Yes, we did. Now, as far as asteroids and meteors, we don't have anything major to worry about. Yesterday, this was the closest one, which really wasn't that close. But we will have to keep an eye on this. You almost have to watch this daily because the AI, which actually spots asteroids and meteors much more efficiently than humans do, than we detect, hasn't detected anything. It still takes it almost until it's upon us before it catches some of the last minute stuff. So, yeah, again, spaceweather.com. Everybody should come over here and check it out for yourselves in case something happens and I'm not able to do so. I try to educate everybody so that we can all have an awareness. Now over here at Space Weather Prediction Center.noaa.gov, as we come down, we can see our KP index is going to be 2s and 3s. Looks like we got a 4 later on tonight. So this is, just as I originally had said, this is when the possibility of that arrival of some plasma is going to arrive to give us some aurora. So it would be like a small geomagnetic storm. Very, very small, if any at all. And let's head on down to, and of course we got here, there's Enlil. Yes, Anunnaki, the Sumerian Anunnaki god. But let's come down here. We want to take a look at our D region absorption prediction. This is actually going to tell us how much X-rays we are absorbing in decibels. So as we start to go down, we can actually see that we're staying at a pretty decent level where we're constantly receiving it. You guys see that? Well, this tells me that we're getting an uptick in our baseline for our level of X-ray, which means a lot of activity on the sun. Let's go take a look at that. And as we come over here to spaceweatherlive.com, we come over here to solar flares, and as we can see, we had 2 C flares yesterday. Well, technically we had 3. Or 4 actually, pardon me, but 2 that were any kind of significant. There was a little bit of plasma with that, not much, nothing coming our direction. There was some plasma with this one, nothing major coming in our direction, just little bits. But what I want everybody to look at is the baseline. See what the baseline is here, where it kind of stays here, and then it pops up in the baseline, and then it kind of pops up in the baseline, and then you can see where it's coming. Well, look at our baseline. Our baseline is coming up in activity, like we are currently living in C-class, constant C-class radiation and X-ray absorption. Do you see this? You see how the baseline is coming up from way down here? We were at B2, and now where's the base here? We're at B9. So, and we're starting to come up here and where we're going to be living into C-class. Now, when our baseline starts coming up like this, guess what? We actually have the possibility of touching into the bottom end of C-class, or X-class. That's right. When we start living in constant C, when we get to about C3, when we start living in a constant C, which is pretty close to here, it is possible for us to start popping up into the X range. So we need to keep our eyes on this. Let's go take a look at the sun and see what's going on over there. What's happening? Why are we living there? And as we are looking at our solar dynamic observatory at 94 angstroms of light, which allows us to see the color green. The angstroms allow us to see different forms of gas that are burning. So this is 94 angstroms. It allows us to see, I believe this is the helium, if I'm not mistaken. But let's go ahead and hit play. And we're going to see what's going on our sun. We can see we had a nice little pop here. A nice little filament eruption there. Another little pop there, but just like nothing really major for us to be concerned or worried about. But if we take a look over here, we'll actually start seeing the activity coming up here. Yes, we got our picture taken, but we can really see the activity going on over here. So this is why we're starting to see an uptick. These guys are coming around the bend, and we are getting an uptick in radiation. So as they come around facing us full time, and we can see another spot here. We got this one here, one over here. Yeah, this is going to get exciting this next week, folks. Yeehaw, let's go check something else. So we're going to look at 193 angstroms, and right here we can see that the coronal hole, just as it passed the Earth, the winds are going to start dying down at some point today, but then we're also supposed to be getting that slight little glancing blow. But right here you can see how it's a little bit darker than it is up here. Well, it's a slight coronal hole here, but it's not like deep and very pronounced like here, which is where we'll have higher concentrations of winds. But so it'll still be present, but then next thing you know, bam, we're going to get hit again. We've got 3 decent, deep, very well formed coronal holes that are going to be coming on, and they're going to be smacking us again. And we can actually watch them form here. Let's go ahead and take a watch here. You can see this one here. So this one we're getting affected by. This one hammered, so it rode the solar winds, hit us with some plasma. And then you can see over here, you can actually watch them start forming here. See how they're getting bigger and they're starting to develop? Yeah. So we're going to be taking that one on here pretty soon. Look at that. You can just watch it develop. Now, in a different angstrom, this whole thing looks black. Let's go take a peek at that and see how she looks. Now, let's not forget, we've got all this activity along here that's about to be facing us. So we're definitely going to be having some higher days of radiation and plasma. Yippee-ki-yay. Now, this is 211 angstroms of light. Has more of a purplish look to it. And as you can see, this was the coronal hole that's past Earth, and look at how dark it is here in the middle. See what I mean by the middle being kind of dark? It's kind of hard. I've been doing this long enough. I know what it's going to look like when I get over here, and we can see how well developed this one is, and this one, and this one. So as you can see, that's where the majority of the wind is going to come from, but it does affect and kind of has another connection to it. And coronal holes definitely throw plasma in our direction, definitely can create a lot of pressure, velocity, and density. So that's another thing that we have to keep our eyes on. In fact, why don't we go take a little peek at that real quick? And here we are back over at spaceweatherpredictioncenter.noaa.gov, and we're actually going to take a peek here at, guess what? Our Geospace Magnetosphere Cut Plains Pressure. Just like I was talking about, this is given to us or provided by University of Michigan Geospace Model, the Wolverines. And as you can see, this is the Earth right here. Okay, this is the occulter disk. Okay, this is the Earth. The white side is the sun side. Dark side, the not sun side, the darker side of the Earth. And you can see our geomagnetic field is holding both front and back. We have back pressure. And we've actually got, you can see the bow shock where it kind of waves down this way. Now this is looking, you can obviously see from the north and south. We're standing on the east side looking west. Okay, now this here is from the South Pole looking up. Okay, so you can see dawn, dusk here, because Earth rotates this way. So this, and we can see our pressure here. Now, as I advance, we can actually see when we actually get impacted by solar winds, high solar winds, or by plasma from a coronal mass ejection. And right now, we're just at the tail ends of that solar wind from that coronal hole. Okay, now once we get a little bit further later on this evening, this pressure could absolutely go up just a little bit, not a lot, but it could go up a little bit. And the same thing with the density, because I mean there is this glancing blow, so our density is going to change as well. Now solar winds. Now here we go with our velocity. The velocity could definitely impact us when those solar winds hit. It could definitely impact the planet. So with the pressure, the velocity and density, it'd basically be like Mike Tyson punching a speedball. Okay, to kind of make sense. So now what's going to happen to the Earth with that? When you got all that pressure and the density and the velocity, all that extra, and what's going to happen? Well, we're going to have an uptick in earthquakes. So we need to take a watch for that. That definitely affects our planet for earthquakes and volcanic activity. I mean, think about it. The Earth's getting punched by Mike Tyson, so to speak, you know. So, in fact, recently, look at these. We've got a 6.7 and a 6.2 out here mid-Atlantic Ocean. Right along the oh, that's not good. So, actually, what we need to do here, there's quite a few over here. We'll go to this in a minute. But with it being out here in the middle of the ocean, along tectonic plates, that actually makes me a little concerned. We need to go check out these national buoys, the buoy data. Okay, it doesn't look like it was enough to affect the buoy, so we should be okay as far as any tsunamis. From that, I don't see any activity over here on the National Buoy Center, so we should be okay right now for that, folks. But it's something to watch for. I mean, people wonder, oh, why are these going off? Well, it's because we're having earthquakes over here. Well, why are we having so many upticks and earthquakes? Well, because we're getting hammered. And people don't really put all of that together into one slice. Now, we want to come over here. Hello, work for me. There we go. Over here, they're definitely getting hammered. Oh, what's happening here? Been having technical difficulties, folks. Sorry about that. Look at this, folks. This is in Taiwan. Over just the past 24 hours. That's all I do is 24 hours. Look at all these here in Taiwan. This one here, 5.1. Now, please understand that they actually downgraded the magnitude scale. Okay, when the gentleman that created the scale for the magnitudes of earthquakes, when he died, they literally changed it all by 1. They lowered it by 1. So this 5.1 is actually a 6.1. And the reason they do that is because it ties to human psychology of panic. So they lowered it down, even though that's not the true scale. So we really need to be aware of that. All right? But yeah, I advise everybody to come here and take a look at stuff yourself. See what's going on in the world. And we're going to end today's video with a little bit of eye candy. This over here is the 304, which is where we typically see any filaments release. And there's been no releasing. However, it is kind of nice to see little friends as they fly by the sun, isn't it? 304 is a really good one for catching them on there. But this is the real eye candy. This is actually one of my favorites here. This is an overlay of 211, 193, and 171 angstroms of light. So as you can see, there's 304. It looks red, but this is a different angstrom, so you can really get a good mix of things that are going on the surface of the sun. So let's go ahead and hit play and give this a look. And as we can see here, there's a lot of activity going on here, swirling like over here in this round area, like something is like a vortex, like something's pulling the energy that way. We also have it up here. We can see the rotation going here, and it's going that way. Let's zoom in on that. We can clearly see it here. So there's something over there pulling energy off the surface of the sun. Well, isn't that what's going on over here too? Look at that. Oh yeah. Something's pulling energy off the surface of the sun over in this little vortex round area here. And of course, there's our coronal hole, coronal hole, coronal hole. We can see right along the equatorial plane. So it is quite a bit darker here. And look at all of this. Now here we've got a lot of filament activity, but here it is very, very bright. This is very strong right here, and this is going to be coming around facing us, folks. Now one of the other things I wanted to take note of is watch over here. This might have to start over again, but there's a huge filament release that happens right here. Actually, yeah, watch. You can actually see it start moving. Look at this. Whoosh. Do you see that movement? That was a large filament release. But that's not coming at us, so there's nothing to worry, folks. So remember, keep your eyes open, no fear, and love is the only way forward.